This video, I'm going to open up a batch of 4 books I just got back from an auction. They're very unusual and different books. A couple from the Golden Age, a couple from the Bronze Age, and I can guarantee you've probably never seen any of these books. So stick around as we open them up and check them out. I'll tell you a little bit about them. Hello and welcome to Swarm of Comics. I am Randy, your handsome and humble host. And today, as I said in my intro video, I won 4 books in an auction, and they were just so unusual and different that I wanted to pick them up. They're also probably the cheapest books in all I could afford. But that being said, I think they're a lot of fun, and that's one of the goals with my collecting is from picking up some fun, cool, different stuff and learning about new books. I've had a lot of people ask me, and I might have even brought this up in a video before, what are your collecting goals? Some people are trying to collect all of the books that are in the Seduction of the Innocent book. Some people are trying to collect a full run of The Brave and the Bold. But whatever makes you happy. I don't know if I have a goal. I can never answer that question right, and I fumble over it, and I say a bunch of things. Well, I'm trying to collect cool books or whatever I end up saying. But the fact is, I don't know. I don't have a goal. I'm collecting books that I see, and I know I want. I also like red covers. I also like red shirts. So I'll dive into these books, open this up. Hopefully it won't be too noisy with the packaging and the bubble tape. I sort of gave it a head start here. Because God bless Jim at Bronzeville Comics in his last video. It took him 20 minutes to open up the bubble wrap and the tape on there and the packing tape. And I don't know whether we need to help him clean the back of his room or we need to help him figure out editing software to cut that off. But bless his heart, he's the best. And he's my favorite inspiration. I know he's actually maybe even watched one of my videos. So if you watch this, Jim, thank you for all your content. If you don't know Jim, go to Bronzeville Comics and find him. His videos are really fun. So I'm going to open these up, and in the bubble wrap here, I've already got the tape started. But again, if you like the soothing sounds of me talking while I open bubble wrap, this is the video for you. So let's open this up here. Do you love this shirt? I love this shirt. It's the only one in existence. I had it made. I couldn't have any more made because Warner Brothers kindly asked me to not make any more of these shirts. I felt very special. But you can enjoy me wear it. I usually like to have fun shirts. You probably see them in the videos, and I like to leave links to them. Oh, more tape. Oh, here we go. I didn't think this was going to be so. Maybe my head start wasn't that much of a head start. Oh, there's a slab book in here. Oh, I didn't realize one of these books was slabbed. I don't even need to get it slabbed. All right. Because my goal was get these slabbed, but this one already is. Okay, they did the dirty work for me. All right, that mess is out of the way. Thank you for bearing with me. Let's go through these books. Let's see what I got here. I might as well start with the slabbed book. So this is a bit of a weird book. This is The Adventures of Catman, number 23. And it's from 1970, but if you look at that art, you'll say, that doesn't look like art from the 1970s. And that's because this is a reprint. And it was just too good and to pass up because, I mean, it's graded and it's a 7.0 and I got it for not a lot of money, but it's just what an absolute throwback cover. And the history of this is there was a book, I'm not going to remember what it's called. It was called something like the Super Yank or something like that in Australia. It was an Australian book. And one of the characters was Catman, not to be confused with the American Catman book from the 1940s. This was Australia's version of the Catman. And Catman eventually got his own book and was not in Super Yank Adventures or whatever it was called. And then that ran for a few years in the late 50s. So he first premiered in the early 1950s, and then he got his own series in the late 50s, and then in the early 70s, they revived it with reprints in Australia and put this book out here. So, like I said, this is going to be some books you've probably never seen before. I've definitely never seen them before, and they were just too interesting and fun to not pick up for my collection here. So this is a 7.0, you know, off-white to white pages, if anybody cares. And it's by Yaffa Publishing, and it's Australia. It says it right there. This is not my first Australian book. I have another Australian book that I am getting submitted. And here's a fun, interesting thing that I noticed about that. And also this, you're not going to be able to see it, but this book is really thin, and it's probably just black and white newsprint inside. They printed these books as cheap as they possibly could. You could probably see through this if there wasn't a plastic case on it. But it's super thin. It's probably like 9 pages long. And that's what they did with their comics there. So this is a very cool book. This is The Adventures of Catman, an Australian book. So I 100% did not realize that was already slabbed. Which, by the way, I got it at a pretty good price. It's an Australian book. Nobody knows the book, you know, and it's reprints. So it wasn't going to be incredibly expensive. But, you know, this is one of my examples I tell you of getting cool books that display well, that are unusual and different, that you could get in your collection for not a lot of money. I don't remember what I paid for this, but wasn't that much. And it's a 7.0. So pretty excited about that. That is the first book down. All right, let's sort through these. I want to save the last one. All right. I have these in bags. Let me take this out. All right. So one of the things I've talked about in videos before is, especially in my last video, when I was talking about the Bronze Age. The Bronze Age, there was the Comics Code Authority that came about in the 1950s, I think 54, 55, right around there. And they were now overseeing everything that was put out. Because they cut out monsters, horror, you know, lots of different things. And it killed all of EC Comics and all of the other horror and different comics out there. But by the Bronze Age, they eased up their rules. Sure, you couldn't have like severed heads running around with those, but you could start having werewolves and vampires and monsters and ghosts and horror stories. And a big trend in the 1970s. I used to read them, and my brother Bill will tell you too. I probably still have them. I should dig them out. They're absolutely 1.0s in beat up condition because we read them a million times. Beyond the Grave, Ghost Manor, Ripley's Believe It or Not, Twilight Zone had its own book with Whitman or Dell or something like that, or Gold Key. And there was a lot of these horror anthologies, and that's the book I picked up here. So this is a book from DC. It looks like it's in fantastic shape. I definitely want to get this done. So this is a book called Ghosts. This is from 1970. Again, the Bronze Age, the start of the Bronze Age. This is an artist that did the cover, Nick Cardy. And you might have seen that on some of my Aquaman books in other videos. And he became very big artist. He was doing covers for The Spectre and other things. For DC, he was doing some amazing art at the time. So this book was just very different. And this was Ghosts #1. It lasted for about 11 years. And yeah, so I picked this one out just because of the amazing cover. And I love the old horror anthologies. So they became a big trend in the 1970s. So this is issue #1. Hopefully we're not focusing here, whatever, but very cool book. So love that. Hope to get that slab. I'm going to say this book is going to come back a 6, maybe a 7, but probably a 6. So we'll have to remember that. I'm going to say, well, I'm going to go 6.5. I'm going to go to 6.5 on that. All right, cool. That was book #2. Let's move on to book #3 here. This was the trend that was in the 1950s. This is a golden age book. This is 1951. Let me see here. Hold on one second. Bear with me while I deal with the Mylar bag situation here and get this back in. This book's in okay shape. This is probably a 3 or a 4 or something like that. But it's a golden age book. 1951 from Avon Publishing. And this one is called Prison Break. And there was a lot of crime books. There was as many crime books as there was romance or horror books. There was a million of them. And a lot of the crime books were put out with support from law enforcement. Lawbreakers never lose, and crime doesn't pay. There's just a million of these books. And, you know, they were trying to influence positively on the kids to not do crimes. But I guess if you're going to do crimes, you should be a busty lady in a prison skirt kidnapping the prison guard there. Do we think that's what women wore in prison back then? I don't know. But anyway, this has a stamp on it, October 23rd, 1951, which, as you know, if you watch my videos, I love those stamps. I don't know a ton about this book. I know that the series lasted about 5 issues. I think it has Joe Kubert art. He might have even done the cover. Joe Kubert, famous artist, drew for like 60 years. And his sons, Andy and Adam Kubert, are absolutely fantastic artists who've done a ton of work for the past 30 years. So I always like having Joe Kubert. He had his own school, Joe Kubert School of Art or comic book school, whatever it was. So again, book number 3 that I can almost guarantee you've never seen before. Or maybe I'm just sheltered and I've never seen it before, but I saw this come up in this raw condition, and I don't know whether people just weren't bidding on it, but I grabbed this because I thought this cover was absolutely fantastic. I love this stuff. So, very cool. Riot at Gray Rock Penitentiary. Walter Laganza and the Tri-State Gang. Like they come up with some cool names there. So, Prison Break number 2. That's what it is. Avon Publication. All right, last book. I think Jim from Bronzeville is going to like this. I actually know this book and this series from watching Bronzeville Comics. He's a very big DC fan, DC Comics. I'm not a huge fan. I like some of the stuff, but I've always been a Marvel person. And I know Jim collects the series. I know there's not very many of them. But hopefully he enjoys this if he happens to watch this video. And I hope you enjoy it if you watch this video. This has like this massively thick board. I love this. This is for shipping purposes. Look at the size of that extra backing board they threw in there. So I put that in the recycle bin, but I'm just going to throw this back in the bag just so it's easier to display so clumsy Randy doesn't drop it. Okay. Here we go. We're ready for this one. I know there's a lot of buildup. This is a series that's called Leading Comics. It's from DC. As you can see, super cool cover on there. And this is Leading Comics number 8. And this is 1943. And it's in pretty good shape. I'm going to guess this is a 4. This is about a 4. So this one's a 4. I would say Prison Break is probably could be a 4 as well. And Ghosts is probably a 6, between a 6 and a 7. I know that's a vague, wishy-washy answer, but I'm not pulling them out and going through them. I'm giving you rough ideas. So Leading Comics, you'll recognize somebody like Green Arrow on there. That's classic Green Arrow. I think Starman is in this, and Red Wing is on the cover here. So anyway, Leading Comics. Very interesting story behind this series. DC Comics, as we know it today, was not just one comic company back in the day. It was 2 companies. And again, correct me if I get any facts wrong. I don't have anything in front of me. I'm not reading the internet in front of me. I'm just looking at my own face in the camera. Oh, hi. DC Comics was National Comics and All-American Publications, or something like it. National Publications and All-American. They were 2 different companies, and they would cross over with characters. And National had the Justice Society of America. So it had a lot of the big stars out there at the time, like the Spectre and Flash and things like that. So All American publications said, well, we're going to do our own super team because everybody loves the Justice Society of America, the JSA. And they put together these are the 7. Oh boy, now I'm not even going to remember. Now I might have to look at the internet there. It's got a name for it. It's like the seven soldiers of victory, 7 soldiers of victory. And that's what they were called. And it bombed and nobody cared. And the name Leading Comic Books was stupid. And the superhero team in this book only lasted 14 issues. Some of them are very rare. Some of them are much more expensive. I just must have got lucky on this issue number 8 here because I loved this cover. It says 1943, go back through the centuries with the 7 soldiers of victory. I couldn't remember the name and it was right there in the thing. So sorry, I'm dumb. But because it was sort of the knockoffs and it's because these characters appeared in other books already, nobody really cared about this. But it sort of made it rare. Like, instead of having 9,000 issues of it, there's only 14 with his heroes. The book continued on for a long time. But I think after issue 14, issue 15, it turned into like Talking Animals funny book or something like that. And it just had a bunch of other, I think it had Westerns in it and a bunch of other stories. So these tanked pretty hard. So most people aren't familiar with Leading Comics or the 7 Soldiers of Victory. So I thought this was a little unusual and different and was worth picking up. They go back in time and through this, and it was almost like Bill and Ted's Adventure, whatever the movie's called. I don't actually like it, but don't make mean comments about it. It's not my thing. But I remember that, they go and they see all of these. Maybe it was the second one. Whatever Bill and Ted movie where they go and they see like Napoleon and all these people, that's what happens to them. They see like Julius Caesar and Napoleon and whoever else, historical figures as they go back through time. So that's Leading Comics number 8. Hope you enjoy that. Seeing that, learning a little bit about that. And yeah, I'm probably going to say, I guess this is a 4. Get these slabbed at some point, and hopefully in a future video, we'll see how wrong I was. So that was it. Those are my 4 books that I picked up. I'm going to do this. You guys are going to stick with me while I hold these up for my thumbnail, right? Does that look good? You guys are with me? There, yeah, see? Instead of taking a photo later, I'll just screen capture that and it'll look blurry and terrible and won't look good. But all right, that was it. Short video today. I just wanted to unbox those. I was excited to see those and get those and finally get them open and be able to share them with you guys. So let me know in the comments whether you dig those books, if you've ever heard of those, or if you have these books or anything like that. I love chatting about that stuff and learning about what you guys are doing and just staying connected and learning about new stuff. So that's all for me. I'm Randy. Again, this is Swarm of Comics. I appreciate you guys joining me and stick around, watch some other videos, make some comments, do some things, have fun. Bye.